Hi, everybody. Sorry about last week when I wasn't able to go on, but thank you guys for understanding. It was a crazy week last week. I ended up subbing 4 out of 5 days, which is unusual. I usually only sub about 2 or 3 days a week, if even that. But last week, every day, I even only had one day scheduled to sub ahead of time, and then all the rest were last minute. The one on Monday was as I was walking to school, I got a phone call, and then it said that the sub was covered. And then when I got to school to help get the sub set up, since I was familiar with the class, then I come to find out they didn't even have a sub. So I had to go home quickly while the principal took over the class. So that way I could grab my backpack of stuff and my lunch and everything. But I came back dressed in my sweatpants because they told me don't bother changing, just come back. So that was kind of weird for me to work in my sweatpants last week because I'm usually in a nice skirt and shirt, nice outfit. So it was and nice shoes. So it was kind of weird to come back and work in my sweatpants and just my like sweater jacket and tennis shoes. But anyway, so last week was crazy. This week so far I have nothing, so we'll see. Anyway, I hope you had a good week last week and are having a good week now. Hi, Susan. Nice to see you on there. Thanks for being here. So I missed a couple of blog posts that I want to talk to you about that I was on. So my one from last week that I wanted to talk to you about has actually been doing pretty well. A lot of people have been liking it. So it's how to save money by not wasting food. So I don't know if you're like me, we always end up having some food to throw away after dinner or from your cupboard, your refrigerator, and I don't like doing that because it wastes a lot of money. And of course it's wasting food, which is silly. So there's a blog post I made for all these different ways. I think there were 10 ways. I was going to say 7, so good thing I looked at it. 10 ways to stop wasting food and save money. So I'll go through a few of them in detail, most of them, then you can look at the blog post later. I'll put the link in the comments. So the first one is use what you have left from the week before. So like I did this last week, we had some yellow squash left over from the week before. And so I have a recipe for vegetables that are normally, and I always have carrots in the refrigerator. So I had a recipe usually for carrots and the green zucchini, but I had the yellow squash, so I thought, why buy new zucchini? Just go ahead and use the yellow squash instead, and it worked out really good. So it saved me from spending extra money, and it used up the food, so I didn't have anything to throw away. So that's a good way. The next one, use your leftovers the next night. I always make enough for 2 nights anyway, because it's good. It saves you from having to cook. It saves you from having to do tons of extra dishes every night. And also, of course, it saves you money because you're only having to cook once. You're not using your electricity, gas, everything as much. So it's nice. And if you don't like leftovers, I give you some tips about how to not have the exact same food again. We just have the same exact thing, but I know a lot of people don't like that. So I talk about on the post what to do to solve that. And if you read the comments under the blog post, a couple of my readers also were very nice and shared what they do with their leftovers and how they repurpose them. So you can, if you read the comments under the blog post, you'll see some great tips about that too. Take your leftovers for lunch. That's what my husband does, because even after we have our meals for 2 nights, there's still some leftovers. So instead of throwing them away, he takes them for lunch, and that saves tons of money because going out to lunch is expensive. Mix food together, like how I did for the different vegetables, different things like that. A lot of people save all their extra vegetables and freeze them. And then when they have enough, they use them to make a soup, things like that. Just take less. That's a big one because, we think we have to take everything on our plate all at once, but you can always get more if you need it. Rather than taking way too much and throwing it away, just take less. And that's the first 5. So the rest you can put the link to the blog post in it, and you can read it later, because I don't want my lives to go too long. I'm trying to keep them under 10 minutes. I don't know if I can, but I've been reading a lot that people like to watch the videos that are less than 10 minutes. If they go over 10, they don't always want to watch them. So I'm going to try, but since it's the first time trying to keep them less, I don't know how I'm going to do. And then my second post was just this past week, and it was about a book that I reviewed called Trade Your Cares for Calm by Max Lucado. And it's kind of like a devotional book. It's really nice because I worry a lot, and according to all the comments that I've received on my blog post, hi Julian, thank you for joining, then a lot of people worry about things too. It's not just me. So I'm glad to know it's not just me, but then I'm sorry for those of you that have a lot of things to worry about too. But this book has been really helpful to me. It gives you lots of ways to learn your for calm, and there's 10 chapters in it. And at the very beginning, before each chapter, it has a wonderful quote about things. And like this one on chapter 1 says, "There's a stampede of fear out there. Let's not get caught in it. Let others breathe the polluted air of anxiety, not us. Let's be numbered among those who hear a different voice, God. We will incline our ears upward. We will turn to our Maker. And because we do, we will fear less." So each chapter starts with a really neat inspirational quote like that. And then there's, within each chapter, it's not always the same order, but within each chapter, then there's like a story or an example of some kind of fear that you could be experiencing, or worry or care. And then there's another one that has a whole bunch of different verses that you can look at to see that relate to that story, and it'll help you get through everything. And then there's some kind of checklist in each category, in each chapter, that you can go through that helps you. Like this one was coping strategies, and it says like when I'm anxious, and it gives you a list of things to check off to see what you already do and then what you can work on. And then there's usually some kind of a worksheet or something that you can fill out that helps you learn how to deal with your cares. The one I showed was helps when it takes our eyes off the problems and fix them on God. So then it has you list things in your life that are noble, just, pure, different things like that. So then the next time you have worries, instead of worrying, you're supposed to think on these lovely things. So then you can look at that page in your book and go, oh, I can think about these things instead. And then when you start reading those and thinking about those things, then you're not worrying anymore, which is really great. And then one of my favorite parts about the book is the beautiful pictures. You'll have to look at them in my blog post. They are so pretty. All of these beautiful pictures of nature and different scenery, landscapes. It's really pretty. You'll have to go look at them. They're so beautiful and so colorful. And that just helps you calm down just by looking at them. And, you know, maybe if that's the last thing you look at before you go to bed, then maybe you'll have nice dreams about being in a place like that, and then you can actually get a good sleep. So that's one of my favorite parts of the book. So I'll put the link to that blog post also in the comments. You're going to have 2 of them this time. I'll put it either in the comments or above, or maybe I found out last time that I can put something above the video when I go back and edit it. So in the description that goes above the video. So I will probably put the links to the blog post in there instead, since I learned how to do that. Technology, it's amazing what you can do. You just have to learn how to do it. So anyway, those are my 2 posts. So I'll put the link to them later, and I'm doing good. I'm about to 10 minutes. So that's it for this week. And as always, if you have any comments, questions, anything, either leave them here below this video or just put them on my Facebook page, or you can always message me and I'll get back to you. So I hope you all have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you again in next week. And then also in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing another live, hold on. I don't know why when I do this, I always get like a tickle in my throat. Sorry, but that's why this is alive. It's real life. So anyway, in a couple of weeks, I'll be doing another live Q&A, and I will put a link to that later on. All right. Hope you guys all have a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye.